What's up, everybody? It's Justin Davis, welcoming you guys to another episode of The A Show. It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks, bro. Come on.
I know. I can't believe we're actually doing this for a second week.
Two.
I know. We finally found a good a kind of a good time to do this.
Yeah.
So and I just want to take a second to thank everybody for the great response on the first show last week. I don't know if you saw any of that, Meelz.
I saw a couple. I saw a couple tweets, a couple comments just in our group chat. A couple, I got a couple texts about, I'll be honest with you, I'm not even tooting my own horn. I listened to it last week, and I sounded pretty good. I was just like, wow, I sound really smart here. But that's me. It's just me tooting my own horn. Like, I just felt that way. I don't know.
And that's just, just doing things that we like and doing a show that we like to do. How was your week? How was your weekend?
My week has been crap. Yo, you're asking me this on a Thursday, so I'm like thinking like, what did I even do this week? It's been solid. I'll say that. It's been solid. What have I done? Not much. I guess not much. This whole working schedule just got me, working.
Yeah.
And doing things. And did anything good happen? No. Everything.
You didn't do anything for Halloween? You didn't do anything for Halloween?
Oh, Halloween. Oh, bro. I dressed up as Vegeta.
Well, I did not see pictures of this on Instagram or anything.
But it is on Instagram, so that shows you. It is on Instagram.
The algorithm must have fucked me up.
I didn't put it on my Instagram story, but I did put it on Instagram. So I dressed up as Vegeta, but I didn't do like Saiyan suit Vegeta.
Yeah.
I did the pink shirt Vegeta from the beginning of the Trunks saga.
Oh, I saw that. That's Badman, the Badman shirt. I did see that.
Yeah, that's the Badman shirt. See, so that was Vegeta. So I did that. That was pretty cool. Ate a lot of my niece's candy. Also that. What about you? How do you celebrate your Halloween, bro?
I've never been like a big Halloween person.
Me neither.
I don't like to dress up, but I like the feel. I like the culture of it. I like the evilness of Halloween. So of course, obviously, I did my 31 Days of Horror marathon the whole month of October. So I just pretty much sat in the house and watched movies all night. Like that's what I enjoy the most about the whole thing.
I definitely was watching Tuesday night Smackdown, of course.
Of course, we have
Live.
We have to watch that so that we can review. If we can talk about it on this show. I also watched Smackdown, and of course, we're going to get to that during the show. But before perfect segue into our first segment of the show, which is No Holds Barred. We have this. Obviously, our weeks were pretty hectic, but no week was more hectic than the WWE in the past 7 days.
Yeah,
shit just pretty much blew up. I think the first thing we have to get to on today's show is fall cleaning. There were 3 talents that were released last Friday. Emma, Darren Young, and Summer Rae were released on Friday to the shock of some and the non-surprise of many. What do you think about these releases?
In terms of Emma, I'd say that was probably the only one that was truly shocking. Just because she's been out of the 3 of them, she was the one previously used on television. So she despite not having a strong role entirely on Raw, she was used in terms of the storyline to help progress. She was in a big angle with Asuka and all this stuff. So usually I would think that I would attribute it to just, I don't know. I thought she would be unhappy, and I thought it was maybe a mutual release in the beginning, just something like, I'm not happy here, I want to go. But apparently it looks like they just let her go.
Yeah. I guess we'll get to it in long form, but I'll get to let's get to Emma at last. Let's just kind of go through the other 2. Like Darren Young hasn't been on TV in I want to say a year and a half. He had a really bad knee. Was it a knee injury? I want to say it's knee or shoulder.
I want to say shoulder too, but I feel like he already had a shoulder injury, and maybe we're just rehashing. But he's definitely had. I would say, I guess he's been sort of injury prone in terms of in the last couple of years because he's been sidelined by 2 major injuries.
But he was always an ambassador for the company, being the first openly gay wrestler on the roster.
Right.
And he served as an ambassador for their bullying program, and he did a lot of really good philanthropic things for them.
He was the night before he was released. He did something for the WWE. The Clippers had WWE night.
Yeah.
And he was there with Becky Lynch and Enzo Amore.
Yeah.
So it's that was also surprising in terms of that they just, I mean, it's not surprising. I could see them saying, hey, we need to, cut some fat and we just need to get rid of some superstars.
Yeah.
But not after they did just something really cool and awesome the night before.
Two of the three of them had been doing things for the company.
The intel on that is weird in terms of just like, hey, let's book this guy for an event. We're doing WWE night at the Clippers, which is something mainstream that people can get behind. And then you said, oh, the next day he's actually gone, like clipped. So I don't know. The intel's kind of bad on that part.
I think a lot of these situations were probably done on the HR side, and the creative side probably had no clue what was going on.
Right, or talent relations.
Yeah, talent relations had no clue that it was gonna happen. I know that people want to blame WWE and say that it was petty, but that happens at every job where it's like they'll HR, and it comes from a mandate from up top to the bottom, and it's like they don't really know. So I can't really blame them. But Darren Young, I don't know what his future is, or what do you think his future is after this?
Just indie star, just guy on the indies, WWE name, wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't see him coming up with any, unless he's like secretly creative and comes up with a character or something. I don't really see it beyond that. I see him as just one of those WWE guys on the indies. It's just like he's a name. You wouldn't put him on your card because he's a name. He's been recognized by hundreds of thousands and millions of people around the globe, and it's a good name to have. It's
not really a stellar in-ring guy to me.
No, I mean, I think he worked hard.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But in terms of, especially in the primetime players sort of area, I think he worked really, really hard. But it just never came through in terms of the screen. He never connected.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
like the Bob Backlund thing. Was it a year ago? It was painful.
Go ahead.
It was painful.
That was a head scratcher, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Bringing back Bob Backlund,
but they did try. Like I do feel as though they tried.
They tried, yes.
Yeah, they really did try with Darren Young, and all power to him. Hopefully, he finds something good next. I think he'd probably be a really good actor. I thought his promos were always really nice. Summer Rae, and this was something that no one was really surprised about. And this was something that a lot of dirt sheets said was really a matter of when and not if. But Summer Rae was also released. She had been out we haven't seen Summer Rae in, I want to say, almost 2 years.
Yeah, since pretty much the last superstar draft. Since the WWE draft, we haven't seen her since shortly after she hasn't competed.
Yeah.
So she was initially drafted to, I believe, Raw. I could be wrong.
It was Raw because I think she was starting a feud with Sasha for a second.
So to me, I'm a big mark for Summer Rae just off screen in terms of everything on Snapchat, everything on Instagram. I think she's great social media wise.
Yeah.
We all have I guess we have the same interest in music. She's just very cool. She just seems cool off, like just a cool person in general. So I'm a mark for that. In terms of in-ring, I think she had something to offer because I know her in-ring style isn't necessarily all about the moves and things, but there's a lot of theatrics that come with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It reminded me more of like it would have worked possibly better in the Attitude Era. There was a lot of theatrics that come with it. A lot of screaming, yelling, pulling. A lot of posturing. Posturing. A lot of that. I think she could have, and the role that she had with Rusev in that brief storyline. I think if anyone that came out a winner in that sort of storyline, it was Rusev for what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it was Summer Rae. It was Summer Rae.
I think they were both great. I think they just got like Lana was lost there. I think that hurt Lana more than
was
those
lost.
two. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Ziggler, so I'm just never gonna side for Ziggler. But definitely Yeah, definitely Summer Rae. I think she came out a winner in that one.
She's got the biggest upside. I think out of all the releases, she's got the biggest upside. I mean, Maxim featured her heavily a couple months ago in their issue.
Yeah.
She gets regular modeling gigs. It looks like she's about to start acting. Like, I think Summer Rae has.
Fine.
Yeah, she's gonna be fine. She didn't. She was preparing for this, and we could tell that she was preparing for this. I think a lot of people were just wondering when they were just gonna just let her go.
Pretty much.
But with Emma, again, coming back around to Emma, it perplexed me at first, and as reports have come out from Justin Barrasso at Sports Illustrated that Emma had some heat backstage from just her social media complaining. That is like a lot of the creative didn't like that she would complain on social media a lot, which is odd because Nia Jax complains on social media all the time, and.
Also, they made it a storyline, kind of. Like, they included her social media,
Tweets.
her social media presence in the storyline. So, for me, at least in terms of that realization, I could see that you get in heat backstage because of your tweets. I feel like a lot of people, that's not something foreign. That's not something that doesn't happen. But I don't buy it as, like, the reason why she was released.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily... Because they made it part of a storyline. Like, they was give Emma a chance. Every week, she tried to, get over another trending topic. And it just sort of, I don't know if that was maybe a rib on her, but it just felt weird that being sort of a reason, like, hey, we didn't like your tweet, so we're going to release you. Especially when she had so much to offer. And you see in the Asuka thing, the brief Asuka program, that she definitely did.
Yeah, she gave Asuka, and we'll get to Asuka on Raw a bit later, but like she really gave Asuka that. Like and I'll turn around and say this week. Like she not made Asuka, but she kind of got her ready for the type of matches that she's going to be having, where she can't have those NXT matches anymore. She made her main roster ready.
Right.
And I think you never really got a sense that WWE gave Asuka the chance that she really needed. Like, just look at all of the forms of Emma, where it's like it was the silly Emma with the bubbles, and then she teamed up with Santino, and that was a death right there. And then she did the whole weird incident about her shoplifting, and then she went right back to NXT.
The shoplifting is really what I think got her. I feel like they legitimately thought. Because this was in the early NXT days.
Yeah.
I feel like they legitimately thought that would work on the main roster.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure. There wasn't the quite distinction now where it's like, oh, something's going to work in Full Sail and it might not work on the main roster. I don't think there was that sort of realization as of yet that, like, we still had, a lot of gimmicks in that early NXT didn't really work on the main roster.
Adam Rose.
The Bo Dallas thing, which was huge in Full Sail, didn't really work on the
Ascension
main roster.
The fucking Ascension. Yeah.
So I think that it was part of that process where they thought it was going to work, and then it ended up not working.
Yeah.
But I really think that she was initially released for like a day,
and then they brought her back.
Hours.
Yeah, a couple hours.
After the whole shoplifting incident, but I feel like that was also a terrible idea to do that. But she has a lot of supporters. I think she has a lot of supporters. I think everyone realizes that she's a strong talent. I think she can go anywhere now and be the cornerstone of any division, whether it's Indies or she goes to
Shimmer,
Impact Wrestling,
Stardom.
I think she's solid. I think this is more like a Gail Kim situation where it's like, your trash is our treasure. You didn't treat her right. We're going to show you the full extent of everything moving forward. I think it's a good coup for the independent, the independent community to get her as a female roster. It's someone with a big name. As many men that have been released, we haven't had any females, predominantly wrestlers that have been released and gone to the independent scene and made a bigger name for themselves. So I think it's a good grab. It's a good grab.
Speaking of social media, and I guess we'll touch on this a little bit. Professional knucklehead Leo Rush had a very weird kayfabe tweet that he's since deleted, talking about Emma's release, where he basically says something like, "This is what happens when you're not ready for Asuka." And that blew up on Friday, way bigger than her release. It kind of took the attention away from her release and put it all on him. What did you feel about that?
I felt like I see where his intention was. I think he's a mark.
Yeah.
And it's probably taboo for an actual mark to call another wrestler a mark, but I feel like he was just being sort of a mark about it. And he was just like, I think he wanted to do something lighthearted, but it didn't really come out that way. And I think it's part of, you don't really diss somebody who's just lost their job. I think it's probably the timing was the worst thing about it, and just the lack of respect, because Emma had so much respect backstage for everything he does, and you're kind of making a joke about it, because this is more than just, a storyline now, I guess. This is more, This is someone's livelihood. This is someone food off their table. How are they going to sort of bounce back from this? And it's a bunch of questions. We typically don't make jokes about releases in that sort of way, but I feel like he definitely was trying to get something lighthearted started. It was just bad, bro. Bad. I wouldn't have done it.
His apology was even worse, where it's like, I'm sorry if you were offended. That type of social media apology. Sorry if you were offended. I'm not really, gonna take it back. And then he says, myself and the WWE, we wish you the best in your future endeavors. And I was like, this motherfucker is really crazy.
I feel like someone should have at least, I mean, if they asked him to issue an apology regarding it, or maybe he took it upon himself to issue an apology, I think it should have definitely gone through WWE somehow before he did that.
Because I mean, you had Peyton Royce going at him, you had Bray Wyatt going at him, you had Kevin Owens sending shots at him, fucking Jack Gallagher, like all these people were going at Lio Rush, and I'm like, that is not a good way to start your career, and you haven't been on one takeover yet, and you've jobbed twice
right.
in NXT so far.
He's gonna be doing that a lot. He's gonna be doing that a lot for the foreseeable time. I think eventually, because he is so talented, that eventually that will sort of rise through. I mean, everyone goes through their sort of things. I'm not, I don't hate Lio Rush for the things he said, because I kind of get what he was trying to do. It was just terrible decision making at all. I think it's more just lack of maturity or something along those lines. Yeah. I think it's a case of that, and maybe that comes with time, and he's learned a lesson now, and he won't forget it. But I think eventually talent will shine through with him. I think he's a good talent for the WWE, and eventually he will get back to where he's supposed to be. Yeah. And it'll kind of blow over.
We shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see. The next news point I want to get to, Raw and SmackDown ratings sync for Halloween. I think we both called this last week. It's just a tough week to do Raw and SmackDown. I think they'll bounce back, but I mean, I think they tried to stack those cards. At least Raw.
I think we're starting to see the slump in terms of all the sports coming back. There's basketball, there's baseball. I guess baseball just ended. There's baseball, there's football, and everything going on. I think we're starting to see the slump in ratings. Yeah. And we've had record low viewership for Raw last year during this period too.
But this has been a really strong period for them, I have to say. Even with the NFL going on, people have been watching Raw.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think the slump is it's also Halloween. People are out trying to celebrate Halloween.
Yeah, and also you had a Game 7 in World Series. You had a Game 6 on Monday, Game 7 on Tuesday. I know a lot of networks did reruns last night, and I feel like SmackDown could have. But the thing is, you got to go full fledged on Survivor Series, and we'll get to that in a second when we get to our show reviews. But they really tried to stack these shows this week.
Yeah, I could see it, but it is what it is.
The next news point, Raw 25, the 25th anniversary of Raw, which they actually got right here. Usually they get the anniversary years wrong. It's going to be at Barclays top of next year, right? January, correct?
Top of next year, I believe it's January 22nd. It will be at Barclays and the Manhattan Center. So they're doing dual shows at the same damn time.
How's that going to work?
Dual telecast. That's all I'm assuming. It's just like a double telecast where they're broadcasting, so and so from the Barclays and so from the Manhattan Center, and maybe one will have a special event that the other doesn't. And it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I'm wondering if I should go or not.
I think you should go. I think you should go to the Barclays.
But then it's like, which one?
Go to
I believe the
Barclays.
Barclays Center is probably.
That's going to be the real show. I feel like the Manhattan Center, since it's so small, it's going to be kept for like very small segments, maybe
Might
interview
be an
segments.
attraction. I mean, you might. I feel like you might get a Shawn Michaels or Undertaker at the Manhattan Center.
Yeah.
Just considering they were the first, they're the two guys who were on the first episode of Raw that are still somewhat, related to the WWE.
Yeah.
So you might get that, but you might get, you're gonna get the Raw and SmackDown superstars probably at the Barclays Center.
And also, this will be the go home show for Raw for the Royal Rumble that week.
For the Royal Rumble, so it'll be good. I feel like it's definitely the Barclays Center is probably the smarter ticket.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure. But it looks good. It looks good. I'm glad they're celebrating this.
So far, appearances will be, as we just mentioned, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Also, Bret Hart will be there.
Kevin Nash will be there, and I guess more will be announced. I feel like, yeah. I mean, who else would you like to see at Raw 25?
I mean, I guess The Rock probably couldn't do it. That'd be a nice little surprise. He might do a video though. I think he'd do a video.
I think he'll do a video.
Stone Cold could do a video. I think Mick Foley should show up.
I think Stone Cold should show up.
Yeah, if Stone Cold's he's so removed from it.
I know.
Ric Flair maybe.
Ric Flair likely. I think we probably get maybe Trish Stratus, Lita.
Yeah. Medusa maybe. I think Medusa was on Raw as well.
Medusa was on the early Raws.
I think something big will happen on this Raw, though, regardless of anything. Something big will happen going into Royal Rumble. I think after Survivor Series, we're full speed ahead to Mania season. So I think there will be a big angle at that time that's going to go on.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
And our last bit of news is Triple H joined the Shield yesterday at a live event overseas in Europe. They were facing, I believe, Bray Wyatt, Sheamus, and Cesaro with Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and special guest Triple H because, of course, Roman Reigns is still out from viral meningitis. What did you think about this? Did you think this is something that they should promote? Because they promoted it on all of their social channels.
No. Well, yeah. Well, on the social network, yeah. I think it's just you can't get anything to escape. Yeah. From social media anyway, so it's not like you can only, I think you sort of centralize it and it becomes a WWE focused story instead of a story that's kind of driving itself.
Yeah.
But I think it was cool, kind of, but then it's like just after seeing Kurt Angle do it, then it's like Triple H and like who's gonna don Roman Reigns' vest next?
I gotta give a shout out to Triple H for filling in for all of these guys who were out. He did it in Chile. He did it in Chile 2 weeks ago for AJ Styles when he had to go to TLC, and he filled in for Kevin Owens after that, and now he's filling in for Roman Reigns. I got to give it up to the guy. Like he really is coming out and pulling through for these guys right now.
Right, those are three high caliber talents. You miss those from the show, you're missing quite a bit. Yeah. Even just not having Roman Reigns on the show, as much as people boo Roman Reigns, it's kind of like a feeling where it's like it's a little bit lesser than what it is, and you kind of have to make up for it in a certain way. And we saw that on Raw in terms of how they're moving with Survivor Series.
And I think that it's a cool moment. I think people shouldn't. They're worried about kayfabe and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't think this is going to. I'm not sure this is going to.
And it's overseas.
Yeah, it's overseas. It's not.
It's a cool thing for overseas. They don't get a lot of WWE. They get it probably twice a year. Yeah. So it's a cool thing. Oh, that reminded me that Raw is probably going to be taped next week, huh?
Yeah, Raw is definitely going to be taped next week. They're in Europe for 2 weeks.
If they thought the ratings were bad this week,
they're about to. We know that. We already knew that. But speaking of Raw, let's get right into the show. I think we're going to do this a little bit different. We're going to talk about the biggest points from the show. How do you like that? This week on Raw, we had a couple of big returns. I think I got a clue of who was coming earlier this week, and I pretty much put it out there. But we got a return from pretty much everyone. I'll just name off everyone. Stephanie McMahon came back. Yes. JoJo is back. Bo Dallas is back. Samoa Joe is back. Nia Jax is back, and Braun Strowman, of course, is back. Right. Big return. Did I miss anybody?
You forgot, on SmackDown over Tom Phillips is back.
Oh, Tom Phillips. Well, I was gonna get to SmackDown, but yeah,
We're gonna get to SmackDown, but yeah, on SmackDown, Tom Phillips is back. But yeah, listen, it was a great night for returns. I think it's a lot of people who were missing from the show. It kind of, it was a bit scrambled before, but now we're putting the pieces together, moving into Survivor Series, and I think a lot of things make a lot more sense, and now there's context and all this other stuff, so I think we should be moving forward.
What was the most important return, I think, other than Stephanie? Obviously, Stephanie came back on Raw in the beginning of the show to basically run down Kurt Angle, because what else does she do but run down male talent that can't actually get back at her?
Right.
And basically announce that Kurt Angle was going to be the team captain for Team Raw, which at the end of the episode still only had one member on it, but we'll get to that in a second.
I really think, with that one, I have my own conspiracy about that.
Yeah. What's your conspiracy about that?
Oh, my conspiracy is they're still waiting for Roman.
Oh yeah, of course, I think a couple of reporters have already reported what they believe the match is going to be, and it's looking like it's shaping out to be the participants in that. It's going to be a very babyface heavy Survivor Series. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah.
But, I think that Kurt Angle is team captain. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's a good fit for Kurt Angle, especially getting him reacclimated to the ring. I think if anyone's could replace Roman Reigns on the show, it is definitely Kurt Angle, similar caliber of star to Roman Reigns. I think it would look kind of the rosters would look, in terms of the roster representation for Survivor Series, will look so off kilter if they didn't have a big star like Roman Reigns on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or in the match. It's Kurt Angle, and you can work the least in that sort of match.
You can hide him behind tags. You can hide
him in tags and an early elimination, possibly even though he's fighting for his job. But and he's fighting Shane McMahon as well, who's on the other side. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I think it's good. I think it's it's a great thing. I think Survivor Series is shaping up to be a good show. I think they're really still waiting for Roman. I think we probably until the last show before we won't get that final member, but
got to make sure the meningitis is all out of system. Pour some tussin on that. Pour some tussin on that shit.
Absolutely.
The next point I want to get to, Asuka week 3. What do you think? Asuka had a 1 minute squash match, which a lot of people feel as though she should have done from the beginning. I kind of feel as though she shouldn't have done it. Because like I said last week, I feel like she should slowly start beating these women in shorter and shorter times, and I think that's the greatest way to do it. It's like Asuka took or Emma took you 9 minutes, then it took you 5. This jobber took you 1 minute. And next week we're going to do another one, and I think you should keep feeding her to people until they have a storyline for her. I think she's fine right now. So far she's fine.
I agree. I think she's fine doing these squash matches. I don't know if it's going to be squash matches through Survivor Series. Maybe she won't end up on the team. Maybe they're doing this thing where Asuka's outside of the Divas bubble until she's ready to get in.
I like that. I would like that a lot.
They don't want her on the team necessarily right now, just to not compromise her. But I think it's Asuka week 3 looks good. As long as the crowd continues to support, I think it should be fine. Yeah,
and I completely agree. The next issue, and I think this is an overarching Raw issue from this weekend, last week, we have a Kane problem on Raw. We have a very big Kane problem on Raw.
Big Kane problem. I think that's probably what they want you to assume too.
This week we had over 5 segments with Kane. And just to go through a couple of things that he did, Kane came out after Finn Balor had a pretty good match against Cesaro, and Tombstone Finn Balor on the outside of the ring.
Of course.
And then Kane proceeded to beat Seth Rollins clean in the middle of the ring.
Seth Rollins clean. Don't forget, he killed Daniel Bryan.
Oh no, I'm gonna get to that. That happened after. I'm gonna get to that. And then it happened before. Oh shit! It did happen.
That was the first of the Kane problems.
Daniel Bryan showed up to Raw to basically say he didn't agree with what Shane was doing. Kurt Angle leaves him in. This is some Russell crap shit too. He leaves him in a
real
room.
shaky shit.
He leaves him in the locker room. The lights go off. He's clearly talking to no one on his phone, but they're using the phone to illuminate his face.
Right,
then
because he's clearly, there's a white screen.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's like in his contacts with no one on the phone. Like, I'm like, bruh.
Kane shows up and this is the best way to I guess hurt Daniel Bryan on camera is to have the lights completely out, and then he choke. I guess we're to believe that Daniel Bryan's overall is now like a 50 ever since he's retired. And
yeah, I think maybe they were trying to do it too, a little Halloween spooky action.
Yeah, sure.
With the whole darkness and the terrorizing of it all.
Sure. And then he chokeslams Daniel Bryan and puts him out of commission, which I guess furthers the Survivor Series storyline again with Kane in it. And then he, like I said before, he beats Seth Rollins clean. Then he destroys Dean Ambrose afterwards. And then we have that's that. And even on a show when Braun Strowman returns, it has a huge angle at the end of the show, which I thought was great. Kane still doesn't get his comeuppance from TLC. I have and here's my thing. Like, I know a lot of people are saying, okay, at least this week it was even with what Kane did. At least he wasn't just beating Finn Balor. He has a problem with 4 guys on the roster now. I don't mind that. My problem is that Kane is 50 years old. That's my problem.
True.
This guy is beating guys 20 years younger than him. This is stuff. This is what you give Braun. And the thing is, it's like and I feel like it makes them look weak because Braun is going to beat Kane in like 2 seconds.
I don't know about that.
But why? This undermines Braun.
They're definitely building Kane up to be fed to Braun. This is becoming abundantly clear to me that they're building up Kane to be fed to Braun. I think they're using, just part of it. Like, I don't agree with it. He is 50 years old. He shouldn't be, part of this, just thing. But I think Kane is such a recognizable name to them. He's been there for 20 years. Everyone kind of knows Kane through the Attitude Era, through all the other eras. So I think it's kind of like what they're doing with the Big Show, essentially, where there's like Big Show's a recognizable name. Let's have him against Strowman a few times. And I think we're going to get the same eventual match here. I think Braun Strowman's, I guess his target right now is The Miz, and eventually he'll get to Kane. I don't know when.
When are these guys going to get their wins back against Kane? That's my issue right now. When are these guys going to get their wins back?
They will never get their wins back against Kane. I'll just be clear with you right now. They're not getting their wins back. Kane is a destructive monster currently, and that's the direction that they're going
destructive
with.
Monster looks like Jim Belushi with that fucking bet. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is disturbing to me. Like, I really think that this could have been saved for somebody else. Like, why wouldn't you give Luke Harper on SmackDown these types of opportunities? Like, I think he would deserve that more than a Kane would.
This is true. I think he would too, but I feel like, I could see what they're doing. I could see why they're doing it.
But when is this going to... Here's my thing, Meelz. When is this going to happen? They don't have a pay-per-view schedule next month. Like, when are these people going to, like, when is Kane going to get his? I just don't get why they do this, and we're going to get to this on SmackDown too. They mortgage off their prime faces and make them look stupid just for like a 2-week, 3-week program, and it just makes no sense to me.
I don't know if it's going to be 2-3 weeks though. It looks like they're doing it for the long haul. It looks like it's going to be a lengthy. They're doing a slow burn towards a program. Like, even Kane and Braun Strowman hasn't had much interaction since their TLC match, but it's going to happen eventually. Like, they're going to be in the same place at the same time at some point, and it's just building. I think they're going with long-term booking for this as much as it. To the detest of all of us.
That's
hilarious.
No
one really wants to see Kane.
Exactly.
But they're going with the long-term booking with this, and maybe it'll happen on a Raw next month, or maybe it'll happen, maybe they'll have a big, house show or something along those lines. I don't know what they're into these days, but it looks like they're going to go with that. I feel you though. Trust me. Don't get me wrong. I feel you.
I hate it.
I don't want Kane here.
I hate it.
I don't want Kane here.
Lastly, on Raw, Braun Strowman came back, destroyed the Miz Taraj. Really good segment.
Was it?
I liked the segment. I thought it was like a horror movie.
It was very over the top.
Everything with Braun is over the top.
It was very over the top, from him rising from the garbage and just
He's rising from the booking. He's rising from the booking.
Yeah, he's just rising from the garbage. First of all, when is a bag of garbage a calling card? Like in a room. Like there's a bag of garbage in any room.
When your name is XXX Tentacion, that's when it is.
When is like, wow, I found a garbage bag. Strowman must be back. Like he comes back. No one's selling the smell of this man coming from a fucking garbage can, and he just comes back. Shout out to the Miz and everyone for just like overselling it and
love the Miz.
I love it. I love the Miz trying to crawl away. It reminded me of the beer truck thing with Vince McMahon trying to like swim through it, just to oversell of that. But it was just, I would rather see this Miz Braun Strowman program go longer than this Kane and Braun Strowman one that's eventually going to come.
I'll put this out in the air. If it doesn't happen, I don't know when it'll happen. I think that we might get Miz. We really might get Miz losing the title to Braun Strowman.
I don't know if they want to give him the Intercontinental title, but I could see where that's going on. I think they're trying to make history of Miz right now as being the longest running Intercontinental champion of all time, and I think he's kind of close.
Who beats Miz?
Who beats Miz for the Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah.
Some rookie. I could see a Jason Jordan eventually coming into his own.
Oh God, no.
And winning it. No, like, to be honest with you, I don't see Braun Strowman winning it. Like,
God,
I can't see him holding the championship and just taking on all comers. But I think eventually we get to Jason Jordan, or I would say just Jason Jordan. That looks like the only sort of.
I gotta stop you here. Here, and we're about to get to SmackDown right now. Shane McMahon has just went on Twitter. And this
breaking news.
This really gets us right into what I was going to talk about today, or what we were going to talk about today on the show.
I like it.
Due to Jinder Mahal's vicious attack on AJ Styles, he will defend the WWE Championship against AJ this Tuesday in Manchester on SmackDown Live.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I
Any
don't know.
chance we see a title change?
No, absolutely not. This is awful, and we're gonna get right into SmackDown for
Let's
this
get
week.
Into
Jinder talk.
I'm just letting you know, just an update on The Miz. The Miz currently 503 days, so he has about 116 more days as the Intercontinental Champion before he becomes the longest reigning ever. So, I think that's where they're going for. But let's get to SmackDown.
And that'll be around Rumble time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'll be around.
After February.
That would.
Around
That'll be a little bit after the Rumble. Yeah.
I think that's cool. He doesn't have much to do after that. I think have him lose
then
it at
Mania. Have it drop it at WrestleMania or something. Big moment.
That'd be cool. Yes. I guess this goes right into SmackDown, and SmackDown also has a problem. They have a Jinder Mahal problem, and we kind of touched on this, but just to skip ahead on SmackDown, of course, as Shane McMahon said in his tweet that just came out just now, Jinder Mahal attacked AJ Styles on SmackDown after, and I originally said that we were going to get this match on TV, but after a handicap match with the Singh brothers, but it looks like they're going to hotshot it now. I'm very unhappy about this, but again, you're mortgaging an AJ Styles win, or an AJ Styles match against Jinder Mahal because you have a Brock Lesnar match coming up. And you also, just as you've been feeding Jinder all of your baby faces, this is going to happen again.
Wait.
Go ahead.
All right, continue, because I'm a bit confused now in terms of the booking of SmackDown, because originally we had AJ Styles versus Rusev for the final spot on the Survivor Series team. So now we have AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal on Raw. So I don't know if whoever loses get the final spot, or it's kind of questionable now. Like, what are they planning to do? Are they planning to switch the title? I'm just guessing now, but it's kind of a question. I don't know.
Yes, and like on SmackDown, it was announced that.
And sorry to make you lose your train of thought, but yeah, it's kind of I'm trying trying to figure this one out. But yeah,
I have no clue. Here's that's my thing on SmackDown. Like, and this is my problem with SmackDown right now as a whole is with this is that on this Tuesday's episode we had a bunch of members of Team SmackDown that were revealed to join Randy Orton. Shane McMahon is now the team captain. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Kevin Owens to get on the team, and Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler finally ended their fucking feud. And Bobby Roode is going to on Team SmackDown as well.
Good luck.
This completely changes everything with SmackDown. Do you push Rusev and AJ back? Do you have AJ do this and lose this match clean or dirty or whatever, and then have them go back to it at Clash of the Champions? What happens here? There are a lot of things that can happen with SmackDown, but my issue is it all starts at the top, right. And that is that they have. And here's my thing with Jinder Mahal. Like when he won the title last summer, I completely shat on it, and not because of who he was. Not because of what it represented for India, but because I don't think Jinder is a great worker. And I've always said this. I've always said this. I said you guys are going to get a lot of really bad 8-minute matches, and that is exactly what has happened since he's become champion.
100%. I think he's a product of a previous era of WWE in terms of wrestling that is kind of like outdated with style. So for me, he's the product of the era that produced everyone was kind of like a Randy Orton clone. Everyone was this like brash, young, arrogant, muscular guy. And you've had so many people who's followed that sort of thing after that. Dolph Ziggler followed that after a while. Alex Riley is another one who comes to mind. A lot of people from those early NXT days, those are the guys who remind me of Jinder. I don't think Jinder's I think Jinder works hard. I don't think he's a worker the caliber to be able to carry these matches in this sort of period that we have now, this generation now, where quality is so important to the viewers and being authentic. A lot of people, I think, hate him just because they don't think he should deserve to be champion, as opposed to hate him because he is a dastardly guy. I think.
But that works. That works for him. I think there actually.
Works. Yes, right.
I think there are very less.
It works similar.
There are less people that complain about his work rate than people that complain about him having the title. I don't give a shit. Like Great Khali was a champion at one point, and I was like saying the same shit. I'm like, I understand why he's a champion. I get it, but you're more like again like you fed Jinder, Shinsuke Nakamura twice, Randy Orton 3 times. And then now you're about to feed him to AJ Styles. These are the top guys on this show. Meanwhile, you have KO, circling the drain right now when he should really, to me, should really be in contention for the title right now.
100%. You kind of everything is sort of at a standstill, and I think
he's put this show at a standstill for almost 8 months.
Right. I think it becomes mostly just because it becomes a business decision now. This has become less of a, hey, this guy deserves it, let's move on with a storyline program. This is less about stories, and I think this is more now about like a business decision that we're making. I think they have a large audience in India they want to cater to, and it shows. We've had Jinder Mahal being champion is just one of the most viewed champion currently. When he brought back the Great Khali, the YouTube views on that, just huge. They signed 2 new women from India just recently, and one was featured in the Mae Young Classic. You go look at her match in the Mae Young Classic, which she lost in the first round, versus all the other matches, and those views blow it out the water. I think they have a strong audience in India that they want to cater to, and it becomes now, all right, so are we catering to this audience now in India, or are we doing the right thing in terms of just progressing forward? I think they want to hold this time and say, hey, this is Jinder's time for now. We have this set schedule, and eventually this is going to, it's going to cap off eventually. Do I think he'll be champion after this run? I don't think so.
No, absolutely not.
I think unless something weird happened, I don't know. There's 2 brands now, so it's kind of like up in the air of who can be champion, who can not be.
I wouldn't mind him having the U.S. title. He can have that. I wouldn't mind him being attacked. I wouldn't mind him being a tag champion. I wouldn't mind him being anything. But when you have when your SmackDown shows are as empty as an Impact show, you got to think about what your impact to India is doing to your impact on the U.S. Like people aren't paying tickets to go see this guy.
This is true, but I don't know. I feel like I think they want to establish that strong base in India. I know they're going to India pretty soon. I even feel like this Brock Lesnar match is sort of doubling down on that fact. Brock Lesnar is one of the biggest acts in the world. He's the strongest draw WWE currently has, and it's been proven for the last number of years. And just having Jinder Mahal in this match with Brock Lesnar is just, you're combining the worlds. You're saying, hey, this is our biggest attraction, and this is another big attraction. We're going to, even if Jinder isn't as big of an attraction as Brock Lesnar, we're going to make him a big attraction. Yeah. We're going to make it seem like this is a big attraction because this is Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar.
But they're even shitting on that, whereas you have Paul Heyman completely eviscerating Jinder, and then he doesn't even bring any of that up. He doesn't even talk about it on the shows. It's like Jinder should be cutting promos saying, I am the champion. I am here every week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've beaten Shinsuke Nakamura. I've beaten Orton. I've done it, but in his own delusional way, they're not even doing that for him. Like, he just...
I think he's really sticking to the script. I think considering how they want this sort of reign to go, he's really being... I don't say he was, like, under the microscope, but I think they're really, like, giving him this sort of rigid path and just saying, like, hey, follow this. Like, we're doing all this, follow this. Stay on that sort of track. How can I say this? I think they're just carefully orchestrating his entire reign because they're seeing the product of this, and they don't want him to go too far off because it's not really that reign. I could see a Kevin Owens in that sort of fact. Maybe he can go off course, maybe he can do things, maybe he can bring up certain stuff. But with Jinder Mahal, with so much, equity built in him currently right now, that they don't want to sort of risk that. I also think he's not that good.
It's not.
It's also a case of not being that good, not being able to sort of do that. You had Steve Austin, who's able to, who's good on the mic, who's able to do it and handle it, and he knew what his character was.
Yeah.
He lived the life of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He wasn't just playing a character on TV, which I think Jinder is essentially, but he made sure that, like, him and Stone Cold were one, and he understood Stone Cold Steve Austin's motivations. He was very protective of his character and what he should do and what he shouldn't do and all of that stuff. I don't think Jinder is at that thing.
You have Jinder making Asian jokes last summer. Like, it's just a big dissonance between his character. He's been like 3 different characters in the last 6 to 8 months. Like, it's been crazy.
This is true.
I think where this goes now, I think either he gets DQ'd on Tuesday, or he cheats to win. I don't even know why I'm saying cheats to win. He wins his regular way.
Here's my. And of course, another conspiracy about this. Here's my thoughts about this match, and I brought it up in the.
We're talking about the AJ match. We're talking about the AJ match. I'm talking about the AJ match.
The match with AJ on Tuesday, and here's my conspiracy regarding this, and I brought it up in the chat. And is this a response to? And, stop me if I'm going too wild crazy. Is this match now a sort of knee-jerk response in terms of the terrorist attack?
You're right. You did say that.
In New York City on Monday.
Yeah.
Or sometime this week at least. I don't know, because it's a similar thing that happened to another hot, commodity that they had a couple years ago in Muhammad Hassan, where. It looked like he was going to become world champion. Whether he was ready or not, he was going to become world champion. And then the terrorist attack happened in London. The London bombings happened on July 7th, 2005. And that completely derailed it. And not only did it derail it, it just got his character completely out. I don't know if this is a sort of response to that. It's
Muhammad was a lot more inflammatory than Jinder is. Jinder isn't 100%. Jinder isn't really going for that. I get what you're saying, but Jinder isn't going for that. Like, he's not going for that character anymore. I feel like if this happened last summer, it was going to go off of him immediately. Orton would have won the Punjabi prison match. But I get what you're saying. Do they become
more careful now with him in response to this?
I think so. I think they become careful. I still don't think AJ's beating him on Tuesday, because I don't think they... And unless AJ has built up such an equity with himself that they will give him the belt to go against Brock Lesnar, realistically...
That would be a great match.
I know. I know. Realistically, he would give Brock a really good 8 minutes, I think.
Right, and then maybe at Starrcade, Jinder gets it back, and everyone, and then everyone's happy after.
And there's still, I think it's still Rusev, Nakamura, Jinder. I think of that, but my thought is that this is going to lead to some screwy finish. They are going to lead them to have a special guest referee in that match at Survivor Series. I think that's what this is building to. I think that's what this is building to. It's going to have a screwy finish, and then Shane or somebody
territory.
Yeah, and I think it's going to lead to some type of fucked up finish where it makes AJ kind of look strong, and AJ is going to be looking for his rematch at Clash of Champions, but they're going to make sure that Jinder has a special guest referee so that he can't cheat during the Survivor Series match, because I'm pretty sure he's either going to get DQ'd or they're going to need an enforcer, I think, for that match, and just to make it bigger, because you can't just have Jinder fucking Mahal in that match. I don't know who's going to be a special guest referee. As days go on, I'm starting to think less and less that it will be Cena. But because I'm really gunning for, and I'm really saying that I think Jinder's getting Cena at WrestleMania. But I'm a little bit less optimistic about him having it to WrestleMania than you are, Meelz, because of the simple fact that he's run through everybody. Like he has nobody left after AJ. And I think it has to be AJ to be the one that does it. I think you have him beat Jinder, have everybody in the back come out, put him on their shoulders. You finally did it, and then have Nakamura look like, you motherfucker, like you did what I couldn't, and have kind of Nakamura get like a mean streak. I don't know where that leads to the Rumble. I know that, and I've always said this, I think it's going to be AJ Jinder at either Clash of Champions or Rumble, or they're going to just do it at Rumble and get it out the way, and then have Jinder blame Cena for all of his problems that have happened since Survivor Series. I think that's a good story for Jinder, because he hasn't faced any adversity yet.
I think we now, I guess, with this AJ Styles series of matches, it's gonna be interesting to look at, because AJ Styles is probably the best worker in WWE right now, and he's made everyone look great. Will it have the same effect on Jinder in terms of they can make this a long-term program with some sort of, now they can build the fact that this guy is a capable wrestler, that it isn't just it isn't just the Singh brothers coming in and, interrupting this match. Maybe it is the first time, but maybe he eventually becomes a capable wrestler. AJ Styles is one of the best in the world right now, and, you have a chance now to put that part of Jinder over if you go through this Clash of Champions feud, and maybe even leads to the Royal Rumble and things of that nature. But, it's going to be interesting to look at. I would keep close to this AJ Styles, Jinder Mahal feud.
I think the perfect bow for 2017 for AJ is to have him win that title back. But just going through SmackDown now, pretty good show, I have to say.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I liked SmackDown this week as far as the Halloween episode. I thought the New Day were great in their whole costume thing. Right. You had Kofi as Brother Love, you had Xavier as Jimmy Hart, and you had Big E as Akeem, the Dream.
The African Dream.
I thought that was great. They're doing a lot, and I just want to really just talk about Rusev. They're doing a lot of great stuff with Rusev. I think they're finally catching on to what makes him great. He's hilarious.
Let loose a little.
Did you notice in the promo that he had backstage with Shane, when Shane announces Rusev versus AJ, he said, "I just put a big L," and when he said, "I put a big L on Big E's win-loss record." He says, "How elated are you?" And remember, a couple weeks ago, Renee said elated. So he said elated, and he said, I don't know what elated means. I don't know what that means." And now he's starting to use elated in all of his sentences.
He used it in the New Day segment too. The one with New Day, he was like, "I'm elated," something along those lines. But I'm elated. But it's just, I feel like this is a good opportunity. He's loosening up a little bit. I feel like a lot of Rusev's feuds over the past couple of years have been this sort of high-profile feud, and it doesn't allow him to be, sort of loose, because he's playing the foreign guy. Yeah. He's just playing the foreign guy who's evil. I don't like this country, Bulgaria, and he isn't able to get his sort of character a little bit loose. Rusev is a really funny guy. Rusev is a really expressive guy. When he sells, I've noticed this from the beginning, actually from his first feud with Big E, which came a couple of years back when he first was introduced.
Yeah.
He's really expressive when he sells. Like, he's really expressive. He's really funny. So I think we're going to get a lot more of that, and he's eventually going to become a likable character because Rusev is amazing. But you know what? Shout out to Rusev Day, apparently working.
Yeah. Oh, he
with this Aiden English.
Aiden English is great. And listen, I had no high hopes for this guy. This guy has literally gotten over for me.
I had medium hopes for him, but yeah. I'm a champion of like the undercard. Like I think Primo has something in him.
Oh my god, you're crazy.
That's been untapped yet. But go ahead.
Simon Gotch was really holding him back. I'll agree with that now. But
I thought that was a great tag team, though.
I hated them.
Great tag team.
I hated them.
I thought it was great. I was there in Brooklyn Live when they won the tag team championships. I thought it was a great tag team. But yeah,
I think that I really do think that Rusev is probably one of my favorite characters on SmackDown right now. I'm okay with him not having a high profile feud as long as they're giving him something fun to do. And I think a New Day feud is really a good way to show off his comedic chops. And I mean, hey, top of 2018, he could really become a face. I think that's where we're going with him. Is him becoming a face.
I think he could also become a contender. I feel like they've been hovering him around this territory where he isn't quite the contender yet. When they brought him to SmackDown, he was supposed to challenge. He wanted initially to challenge for the championship, which I guess they nixed that because they were like, we're going all full speed Jinder.
For Jinder, yeah.
And they nixed that, but it's I think he could become a contender as well. I think he's building up himself. He's building, everything is sort of clicking with Rusev in the ring. Once he get to the character,
and mind you, but just not even to get off Jinder or not Jinder, but get off Rusev. But I you know who else I think is clicking right now, which is really crazy, and I say it all the time. Like I really cannot believe this guy is still over and people still love him. Shinsuke is still over.
Oh, I thought he was about to say Sin Cara.
No. Shinsuke still, but Sin Cara got over, and I don't talk about Baron Corbin a lot because I feel like they've completely booked him into a shit corner. But Sin Cara was over this episode. But Shinsuke is legitimately one of, I think, the top 2 or 3 guys there.
Yeah, he's you can't shake him in terms of that. Just he has it. He has the personality. He has the charisma.
And his matches are getting pretty good too.
Yeah, he's doing well. In the ring, outside of the ring, I think he's just a persona. He's every time he steps out, it's a moment. Every match he in is a moment. I think you can't. It's something that you can't necessarily. But you know Shinsuke Nakamura is a big deal. That's when you see him, you know it's a big deal.
And now you already know. Like he had, and SmackDown was in my hometown on Tuesday. Right. It was in Norfolk. When they're doing the chant, you're good.
I love it. I love seeing all those black people in the crowd.
Yeah. It's a black city. It's a very black city.
Yeah, I was like, because at least looking from TV, I've seen every other town, and it's just it's good to see a good amount, just a good diversity, good mixture, good everything going on. See, it's more than just wrestling fans. As a black wrestling fan, I feel like a lot of times we feel like we're not catered to in terms of just like they'll have like this big star and they'll have like a John Cena who's like the biggest star in the country, and then they'll go for this like Latino star and they'll say like, hey, Rey Mysterio, we're going for you, or Alberto Del Rio, and it's like, but what about the black guys? Like, we don't need a big black star to come through and just say like represent us, like us as a country. Like we, everyone's hoping Big E is that guy, but I feel like we need that guy to represent us too. Like
that's wild.
We out here too. We watching too.
It's a wild tangent you just went on. I fucked with it though.
I feel I've been holding that in for a while.
But last point on SmackDown, I think more than Survivor Series, we're starting to see a Clash of the Champions card potentially fill out. What are you thinking about Clash of Champions being headed up by AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal, obviously, Charlotte versus Natalya, obviously.
Yeah,
I think Natalya will have the belt by then after Starrcade. I will say that. I
think so too.
And then you have the Usos and Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. And I think those are the 3 at the top. And I don't think Baron Corbin is facing Sin Cara at that show.
Probably not.
I'll go out on a limb and say that I think Baron could possibly be facing Ty Dillinger, or he could probably be facing Bobby Roode at that show.
I think we just open. I just say open the floodgates for a new challenger. Maybe a Bobby Roode, maybe a triple threat match with Bobby Roode and Ziggler, maybe a fatal 4-way match.
Yeah.
Something different. I don't see, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Sin Cara grabs the belt. Sin Cara, they're going heavy with Sin Cara.
They're pushing him because Sin Cara has Reeboks. Sin Cara signed his.
Apparently, he got this new contract.
Yeah,
like he re-signed with WWE, and in his clause is just like I get a push.
Yeah,
that's what I read on the dirt sheet. Which is amazing. I was like, "Who's your agent?" Because I need to hire them, or anybody like Sting needed that.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. The guy.
I'm not mad at it. Get your coin, bro. Come on.
He sells merch.
Put in the contract. Say I get merch. I get my own Reebok shoe. I get a push. Like. Who does it? Who handled that?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm all right with it.
100% cool with it. Sin Cara with the hands.
But yeah, that was SmackDown. Anything else you want to talk about on the show?
Let's see. I'll be honest. I didn't hate the 2 out of 3 falls match. I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either. I'm glad it's over. I didn't hate it though.
I didn't hate it. I like the finishing sequence. I like the authenticity of a fall happening during the commercial break, which I guess is like it's a real thing that could happen.
Yeah, but they did that because they didn't have time to actually show the whole match.
100%. It was a very short 2 out of 3 falls.
It happened
match.
Picture in picture. I think some people in Canada didn't even see it.
No, it's funny as hell. But yeah, it's a good show. Big E versus Rusev, also a good one.
Yeah, that's the match to watch, and I will also say, watch Shinsuke versus KO. I think they've kind of been circling having that 1 4-star match, but for a quick TV match, it was really good for a main event. Did you watch NXT yesterday?
I did watch NXT. I kind of like skimmed through it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I did watch NXT.
Good episode. Good tight episode. Some really good story progression happened on this episode. I think the biggest thing that happened on this episode was War Games. It's finally announced. God, I finally won't feel bad about it.
Did you see the pop in that crowd? God, they lost their shit.
They were going nuts, and I would not have popped at all because I don't like War Games as a.
Nah, I've never been a fan.
I've never been a fan.
I was like, yo, this is kind of stupid.
But ironically enough, since we do the show after NXT, they have announced the rules for War Games, and I'll go over it right now. For War Games, these are the rules. For NXT's War Games, all 3 teams will be contained inside a separate shark cage by the entranceway, with a member from each team as chosen by his respective squad starting the match. WWE really loves shark cages. I swear, this is the 3rd shark cage this year.
They gotta sell the toys, bro.
For sure. After 5 minutes, the remaining members from one team will be released from the shark cage and allowed to enter the match. When another 3-minute period elapses, if the remaining members from a second team are released from the shark cage, following another 3-minute period, the final team's members are released from the shark cage. Once all 3 teams have entered the War Games match, a victory can be attained via pinfall or submission. So basically, teams can win via pinfall. And we don't know if there is a roof over the cage or not. I'm thinking there won't be a roof over the cage because, yeah.
I think this is kind of, I don't know. I've never been a fan of War Games matches.
I like how brisk and quick it is. It's making me, how quick it's going to be is making me think that we might get Andrade, Cien Almas, and McIntyre as the main event. I think that might happen because the 3
minutes elapsed is not a very long time.
Yeah, this could be a 30-minute. It could be a 35-minute match at least.
But then when WCW did it, I believe it was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I believe they just started the counter wherever the fuck they wanted. So I don't think it was actually 5 minutes, but yeah, it was a good episode. The reveal of it was picture perfect.
It was cool. We had the Authors of Pain versus Sanity in the main event, and then of course the Undisputed Era came out and interrupted the match because of course they want the tag titles. William Regal announces War Games, and we're off to the races. We finally have the official name for the pay-per-view now, and I think that was the biggest thing coming out of this match or this show. Another understated but big thing that happened, other than just some regular story building for next week's show, which I obviously always love. Johnny Gargano, where do you think he's going with this losing streak storyline?
I think it's long-term building, and they're trying to see where Ciampa's at.
Yeah.
I think he's going to continue losing and winning and losing and winning and losing and losing and winning. But I think they're kind of really trying to buy time until Tommaso Ciampa's back, which I don't know when that is. He's been gone since January. I want to say...
Wasn't it the Mania? Wasn't it the Mania takeover he did it? Did he turn? Or was it the one before that?
Wait, was it? I don't remember.
It was Chicago. It was Chicago.
It was Chicago, so it was in the summer. It was May.
It was May to May. Yeah, it was May because that was the end of the match. Yeah.
The ladder match. Yes, so that was the ladder match. So he's been out for a while. I think they really want him to sort of come back. I think they anticipated previously it was going to be Brooklyn, but then they saw the extent of how many injuries he friggin' had.
Yeah.
It was like arm, leg, then they realized he'd be out a lot longer. But I think they're biding their time. I think we're going to eventually... This is potentially a main event for whatever show they have. I guess NXT TakeOver New Orleans.
Yeah.
But... I think they're just biding their time. I wouldn't think too much into it in terms of the losing and winning.
Yeah, I've always said long term, I think you have Adam Cole maybe win the title at the Philadelphia takeover.
Yeah.
And you have Johnny Gargano face him at the Mania takeover. And then you have Ciampa come back during that and cost him the match.
That's if he's gone that long.
Well, realistically, I would think he'd be back by take a year. It'd be about a year.
Ooh, maybe.
It'd be about it would be about. I think I mean for Gargano, I think that works. You have him be that baby face, and he's just he's overcome everything. He's beaten all the people that have beaten him over the last couple of months, and then you have him go for the title. He's about to win. Ciampa shows up in a hoodie or something, hits him with a pipe or some shit, and then Adam Cole retains the belt. He's about to literally about to lose, and then he reveals himself as Ciampa, and you have literally the hottest feud in NXT for that summer.
100%, 100%. So I think we'll just wait and see with this Johnny Gargano situation.
One more thing I want to touch on NXT. Who is winning the women's title? I am very, very interested in this and confused with it. Not confused, but I think they might go for the safe choice, which will obviously be Kairi Sane. But over the past couple of days and weeks, I've been thinking they might go Peyton Royce.
I'm doubling down on Peyton Royce from last week. I'm doubling down on Peyton Royce. I'm 100% in on Peyton Royce winning it. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. I don't give a fuck. But I'm in on Peyton Royce. I think it's the best. It's the best outcome out of all three to prolong this sort of program and feud and just the NXT women's division in general.
It needs a heel.
Unless you start building some new, heels, some new, and I think everyone else who's prominent is a face.
Yeah.
You have Ember Moon, Kairi Sane.
Nikki Cross is a face now.
Nikki Cross is a face. What's her face? I forgot her name.
Which one?
Ruby Riott.
Ruby Riott. Yeah, she's
Ruby Riott's a face. Mm-hmm. Liv Morgan for the foreseeable future. I think you should just turn her.
She should turn her. Yeah, I would turn her. She's like her promos are very, very, very cocky and asshole-ish in the 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I think it would offset like her lack of athletic ability in the ring.
Yeah, if she just cheats.
if she was just a heel. So I think that would work out.
Peyton Royce, we're all in. We're 2 weeks out from Takeover War Games, and I do think we have pretty much set the card already. We have Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre. We have the War Games match, which is Sanity and Roderick Strong versus the Undisputed Era versus Sanity. We have the Women's 4-Way, which is Kairi Sane versus Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce versus Nikki Cross, and we have Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream. I did that off the top of my head. I wasn't reading anything.
Oh, great!
That's how much I love NXT. But those looks like those are going to be our matches for the show. I don't mind the undercard being that small. I think you started with the 4-Way match, get the women's title out the way. I think you continue with the Velveteen Dream thing, and then I'm iffy on if Drew McIntyre is going to close that show. It depends. And I said it at.
I don't think so.
I said it at Takeover Brooklyn when everyone was like, "There's no way that he's going to close." I was like, "He's definitely closing the show because something big is going to happen," and NXT always does that.
I don't think he's going to close the show. I think that's the reason why they have the War Games match. I think they're going to close at the War Games. I mean, it's called NFC War Games.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they have to close the War Games, just to be honest with you. But I don't think he closes the show.
I think Drew comes out.
I think it's better off that way, to be honest with you.
Do you think Undisputed Era? Well, actually, no. We'll wait to do our.
Let's wait till next week.
Yeah, let's do our go home show predictions. But last segment of the show, match of the week. What was your match of the week, sir?
I'm gonna go with Finn Balor versus Cesaro.
It only took 2 weeks, but we agreed.
Oh shit!
That's also.
I should have just waited for you and then switched it last second. I also like Big E versus Rusev. I think they're just good. They're just guys who just mesh together well.
Big horses.
Big, like, they're not the tallest horse, but they're very wide and they're very explosive and they're very hard hitting with each other. They've had a lot of good matches with one another, like a lot of good matches.
And hopefully we'll be seeing more.
Yeah.
But Finn Balor and Cesaro was that, that's a match that could fill an indie show. That would put asses in seats at an indie show, and we got it. Admittedly, a little bit kind of throwaway on Raw, the TV match, but it still ended up being for a little 11-minute match. It was a great way to rehab Finn, and it was a great way to show off their chemistry. And I felt like Finn really needed that rehabbing, which is, I don't know what they're doing with him right now. It looks like they've nixed the Brock match completely. It looks like that's not happening whatsoever.
I think the Bray match comes after Survivor Series. I think we're getting that Bray thing after Survivor Series. I think they were just like, all right. I mean, it depends if he's in the Survivor Series match even, because they could just bring Bray back and he's on the card. Like they could just have him pop up somewhere.
I say from the rumor teams, I think there's going to be shenanigans leading to everyone losing anyway. I think Bray is going to be the shenanigan that causes Finn to lose, and then we're going to get a blow off on Raw, maybe as a main event, just to end this fucking feud, and get it past Finn, because I mean we're going to go into Royal Rumble territory, and here's my pie in the sky prediction for Finn Balor. I think we're going to get Finn either. I think we might get Finn turn and then have Finn go against Braun Strowman in WrestleMania.
Ooh. I don't see that.
The Demon versus the Beast. The Demon versus the Monster Among Men.
I can't see that. I can't see them turning Finn Balor. It's a business decision.
Or you just do Finn versus Braun. I really think we're getting Finn versus Braun sooner than later.
Oh yeah, but that could be a Raw match, man. I don't know if you get it on a high profile pay per view.
I mean, they treat Braun high profile. Why wouldn't they treat Finn? Like if the Demon is involved, it's a high profile feud. Demon doesn't lose.
This is true. All right, let's see how it goes.
Demon don't lose, but yeah, there we go. This is yet another episode of the A Show with myself. Another
random match I want people to watch.
Oh, go ahead.
I like doing this now, where I'm just shouting out random matches that people should watch. I want everyone to go back. If you want any fond Finn memories, I believe it's July either 17th or July 7th, 2016. Finn Balor's debut on Raw versus Roman Reigns in that section. Go watch that match. It's a really good match.
It's probably one of my favorite Finn main roster matches. Probably one of his top matches in the WWE period. It's a great fucking match. I think those two have excellent chemistry.
It was when they were all in on Finn, and Roman was just returning from failing a drug test.
Oh yeah, it was Roman. Remember how many times Roman lost on pay-per-view, and he kind of did it this year too. He lost a lot this year on pay-per-view too.
Listen, you can't stop. Listen, make Roman strong. Make Roman look strong.
Remember when Seth gave Roman that running like pedigree when he countered the spear into the pedigree and beat him?
and fully beat him for the championship.
Clean.
And then, clean. You almost forget Seth Rollins is a 2-time WWE champion because he lost it like 40 seconds later to Dean Ambrose.
Which gave us a really good feud. It gave us a really weird Dean Ambrose title run. Very weird Dean Ambrose title run.
The face of SmackDown.
The face of SmackDown. But yeah, that was a great match. Definitely check that out. It's on the WWE Network right now, or you can probably YouTube it. But
yeah, likely.
Once again, guys, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for watching the show. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, let us know on Twitter at OGJohnny5 if you want to reach me, and at Meelz, Meelz TV for Meelz. Yes. This has been another show of the A Show, the only show that you need to listen to every week for your wrestling news and your wrestling hot takes. Until next week, guys, I'm signing off, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out.
I'm sorry to hear about Brian, really, I am. But you, how are you celebrating this holiday of ours?
I love Halloween.
Halloween? I'm not talking about Halloween.
Okay.
No.
Wait. Rusev Day! Talking about Rusev Day. That's what we're talking about. Shane, how are you? I'm sure you just saw what I did to Big E. I did. I put a big L on Big E. Win-loss column. Mm-hmm. How elated are you?